All right, I'm Andrew with JVR Industries Inc. And I want to show you guys, if you are curious what a Rollstock packaging machine is and what it does, I kind of want to go through the basics and go through the procedures and then how you would pick out a Rollstock packaging machine. So this is a vacuum packaging machine that would be more automated than a chamber machine. So if you're looking to upgrade and get away from chamber packaging and do something with more of a production streamlined efficiency, then you would want to get into something like this. Now this is a unit that we rebuild in-house. We also sell new units that start as small as 7 feet long and then go up from there. But this is a Rollstock RI200. It's about 16 feet roughly end to end, but we can get anything, like I said, starting at 7 feet and up from there. So all Rollstock machines, and the term Rollstock is used, obviously Rollstock Inc. Put a trademark on that name, but Rollstock is used very widely in the industry as a thermal former. That's another term for it, but also another term would be an HFFS, which is a horizontal form fill seal machine. So all those terms, if you hear those, are all basically referring to the same type of machine. So this unit is a Rollstock Inc. It is a 420 wide, which is referring to the width of the machine, or the width of the film that it takes. So it takes a 420 millimeter wide film, and then it's a 420 by 300 index. Index will be used. You might also hear the term advance, or you might hear the term cutoff, all referring to the same thing. That is the distance from the center point here to the center point and the next package. So this machine will move 300 millimeters every single time as it indexes forward. So this is our loading area. This is where we put the product in, but let's start at the beginning so you guys have a better understanding of what exactly is happening. So there's two rolls of film. So unlike a chamber machine where you make purchase pre-made pouches in a variety of different sizes, on a Rollstock machine you're just going to purchase flat film. You can get it in different mills. So if you're looking for a deeper pocket, or you're looking for something that's more puncture resistant and tougher, you might want to go to a thicker forming film. So this is always going to be your forming film. It could be mounted down low like here, or it could be mounted up above, but on this end, on the right far end, it's going to always be your forming film. And then over there, it's always going to be your non-forming film. Will be up top. That will typically be like a 3 mil, maybe a 2.5. Could be a little bit thicker, again, if you're doing bone in. And then on the bottom, you could go as thin as a 3 mil. You can go up into semi-rigid materials where they get into 12, 16 mil. But for a flexible application, which is what we do mostly here at JVR, it's going to be like a 5, a 7 mil, in that range, maybe a 9 mil. So right now, I think we're running, I think this is a 5 mil that we're running right now. The film will get brought around and it'll go into these gripper chains. So this is what we call our gripper chains, or transport chains. So this is a pretty standard 1/2 inch gripper chain. You'll see that as it goes around the end sprocket, it opens up and the teeth grab the film, and that'll pull it through. So I'll just do one advance of the chain so you can kind of see how that works. So every time I hit that key, it's going 300 millimeters and coming to a stop. And actually, I'm going to correct myself because this is 240 millimeter index. So this one's actually moving 240 each time. So every time I hit that, 240. That film then gets pulled in. You can see it's flat here. It gets pulled into the forming die. So this is always going to be your forming die. I don't care what machine it is. Your non-form or your seal die is going to be down there. Your forming die is going to be on the right side. It comes in here and then it goes into a chamber. The bucket lifts up. First thing that happens is the air is either coming in through the bottom, or vacuum is sucking up from the top, and it's heating the film. That might only take a second or two, and it preheats the film because there's a hot plate up here. And then what it does is it switches, and either air comes in from the top or vacuum starts sucking from the bottom. It'll pull that film, that hot formable film, down into a mold. So this machine we have set up with a 2x1 divider set. So this will actually create 2 pockets. It's a 2-track by 1 row setup. You can get into other configurations. You can have a 3-track by 1 row. You can have a 3x2, which is actually what I have here. So a configuration like this could go on this machine, 3-track by 2 row. So depending on what product you're doing, this can get changed out. Typically it takes anywhere from 4 to 8 minutes to change out a tooling set. And that's usually dependent on the machine, the manufacturer. Some are easier than others. but also how in depth you're going with the changeover. If you're just going from like a 2x1 to a 3x1, it's going to be a little bit quicker than if you're adding a bunch of additional pockets where you got to change out the rotary knife cassettes and get into like a much more complicated configuration or more divisions. So again, this is where our loading station is. You'll load the product into the pockets, and then it'll index forward until it gets to our seal die. What happens when it gets to the seal die is the die bucket will come up just like it does on the forming side. At that point, it will pull vacuum. It'll remove all the air from the package, and then it's going to gas if you have a gas flush machine. This machine does not, but it could inject an inert gas, and then at the end it's going to bring your seal plate down, which will come in contact with the lower seal grid, and then it's going to seal around the perimeter of your package. Next, we're going to go to the cutting stations. So it's going to index from there. After it evacuates, seals the package, and then vents, it'll index out, and it'll continue to index through the cutting station and divide it up however which way you would like. So a machine like this has a nice wide cutting area, so we could add additional cutting knives to get into a bunch of different individual packages. This one is set up with a guillotine and a cross cut, a flying knife. So both of these are essentially doing the same thing. It's giving our cut across the our cross cut in this direction. This is going to be a guillotine. This is going to be used as our primary knife, so this is going to shoot up and give us a serrated cut. And then this is a flying knife. Every time this is activated, which currently it's deactivated because we don't need it, this will shoot down and then it'll fly across, come back, and it'll give us our division right in the middle. So these are just two different types of cutting knife systems, but most typical is going to be a guillotine, and then as an economical secondary knife, a flying knife is a great option and something worth considering. And then you've got your circular knives or rotary knives. You'll hear those two terms interchangeably. And what this is going to do, and this currently isn't set up for the knife for this pocket, so this is actually a one-track rotary cassette. It's only cutting and trimming the outsides. You will also see where they'll have additional divisions. So these packages are going to come out connected. If I put a two-track in here, it's going to divide it right in the middle, and then we would have two individual packages coming out. And then every machine is going to have some sort of trim scrap removal. This machine and all the Rollstocks come standard with vacuum trim scrap removal. So we're going to have a vacuum pump internally that's going to create suction on these two ports here, and then as the trim comes out, it's going to get sucked in and go into basically like a garbage can of sorts, where it'll fill up and then you empty it out at the end of the day. The other option is going to be scrap winders, rewinders. Basically that's going to come out, run through a series of rollers, and then it's going to be some sort of motor that's going to take up that additional scrap, and then again, once that scrap spindle fills up, you'll take that off, empty it out, and you'll be good to go. So that is the basics of how a Rollstock works. Now quickly, I just want to touch upon how you would select a machine for your application. That's probably the most intimidating thing. One of the great things with us is we consult with customers. We'll spend as much time as you need on the phone, work through what you're doing, what your process is, what products you're looking to do, and figure out exactly what you need for your application. If you're doing one set product, then maybe you only need one tooling set and you're good to go. If you're doing a whole variety, like if you're doing custom processing and you're getting into all sorts of sticks and cuts of meat, we may look at all of your products and narrow it down to a few divider sets, and then determine maybe certain cuts will be better to continue to run in your chamber machine, and others will be much quicker and more efficient to run on a Rollstock machine. So that's all stuff we can talk about. Ultimately, it comes down to your budget. If you are looking to get something a little bit more economical, we can do one of these rebuilds. All of our rebuilt machines get fully torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. 1 year warranty on parts. If you're in within like a 5-hour radius, we even do 90-day labor warranty to get things started to make sure that there's no hiccups right out of the gate. And at the end of the day, we've got all the parts here that you could possibly need, and we fully support them. And then we have new options available. If you're looking to get into something that's really small and compact, we might have to go into a different line, which is the Promarks Mini series. Those machines start off at 7 feet and they go up to 9 feet. So if you have any questions in regards to Rollstock packaging, or you're just not really sure if it's even right for you, if you want to know the differences in the films or the machines, and if it's going to save you money, how much money it's going to save you type deal, then give us a call. We love consulting with customers, even if you don't buy a machine from us. We're not pushy, so just think about giving us a call if you have any questions at all. Again, I'm Andrew with JVR Industries, and thanks for checking this out.